Well, South Korea is in the grips of one of its worst ever wildfires on record. As the death toll rises, climate change is being blamed for the magnitude and frequency of major blazes. Let's cross to Seoul now, where I'm joined by journalist Raphael Rashid. Raphael, good to have you with us today. What's the latest on the fires, and are they continuing to spread?
Yeah, the situation in South Korea at the moment is quite catastrophic, to say the least. We're witnessing some of the biggest wildfires in the country's history. And so far, the death toll, as I understand, is 27 people have died and another 32 have been injured. The winds are traveling at an unprecedented rate of about 8 kilometers an hour, bringing devastation on its path and evacuating tens of thousands of people. There might be a bit of a sense of relief. Literally in the past hour, we've seen that there might be a bit of rain, but it probably won't be enough.
Now, have the authorities and firefighters in particular been caught by surprise over the magnitude of these fires, given that the president has been describing this as one of the worst, possibly the worst on record?
Yeah, I think, wildfires is part of, daily life here. Every year in the spring, when it's a dry season, we do get wildfires every so often, but just not on this scale. And I think it has taken many people by surprise, including authorities who I think believe that they might be able to control the situation. At the moment, they've mobilized 9,000 personnel, over 100 helicopters. They're trying to contain it, but the acting president, Han Duck-soo, has said that this is unprecedented times and is rewriting the history books. It seems the authorities are keeping their fingers crossed for the rains that will be coming, hopefully right now and tonight. But authorities are still being very cautious, as they believe it might not be enough, and they're going to have to continue to tackle the blazes that have taken so much vast pieces of land across the country.
Yes, and as firefighters are working to battling to contain these fires, has there been a request for international help?
As I understand right now, I haven't heard personally of any requests for help. I have heard that maybe some other third-party countries might be interested, but I haven't heard of any right now, although there might have been changes in the past hour or so, but I wouldn't be aware of that.
Okay, and you are in the South Korean capital. How are people who are, of course, not directly affected by these fires, how are they reacting to such a natural disaster happening in their home country?
I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of fatigue at the moment. We've had this martial law crisis in the country, political turmoil. Then we had an aircraft that crashed only in January. And now we have these natural disasters. And I think people are just thinking that, what more could happen? Also, we're seeing some awful footage on the news of national heritage sites being completely destroyed, including Buddhist temples that are over 1,000 years old and cherished, like ginkgo trees, hundreds of years old, forests that are all being destroyed. And I think now, the visual elements are now, really people are now, I think, understanding how devastating these fires are. It's easy to kind of ignore it being in Seoul, in the capital city, but the images speak for themselves, and this is definitely a catastrophe for the country.
Yes, and so many people have also lost their homes and have had to evacuate. What sort of assistance are they receiving, and what can they be expecting in the weeks and months to come?
That's a very good question. Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated from their homes, many of which have lost their livelihoods. A lot of the people who have died, unfortunately, have been elderly citizens or people who stayed behind thinking that maybe things would get better. They are being housed in temporary shelters or in gymnasiums, in schools. The government is pumping a lot of cash at the moment into trying to support the people who have lost everything. But I think the bigger questions about what happens next will come probably once we are able to resolve this situation. Again, hoping that the rains forecast will bring some form of relief over the coming hours, if not days.
Yes, we certainly hope so, and for those conditions to also improve. Raphael Rashid, thanks very much for giving us that update.
Thank you.